Hi guys, so today I'm going to show you how to make my new Tunisian tank top. You will need a 9mm Tunisian crochet hook. I'm using one that is interchangeable. And I'm also using Jeans Yarn by Lion Brand. It is a weight of 4, so worsted weight, and it is 100% acrylic. So to get started, we're just going to go ahead and chain the amount that is called for the size you're making. So just be sure to reference the pattern, make sure you're chaining the correct amount for whichever size you want to make. I am going to be making a size small, so I will be chaining 44. And you want to make sure that you do this loosely. You want to have a loose tension when you're chaining because you don't want the chain, which is going to be the bottom of your shirt, to be tight when you're wearing it. So just be conscious of chaining loosely when you do that. So go ahead and chain the correct size. Okay, so now you should have the correct chain length for your size, and you will be making the foundation row. And to do that, you want to skip the very first chain and work into the second chain. And it's also a little different from normal crochet. Instead of working in the front of the chain, you're going to turn it a little bit and work through the back bump right there on the back of the chain. So you want to insert your hook right through that back bump, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And you're going to do this all the way across the length of your chain. You can see that again, and I'll do one more for you guys. Yarn over, pull up, and just work your way across the chain. Make sure you're doing this loosely. You don't want to have a tight tension or your work will curl and it will just fit too tight at the bottom of your shirt. If you normally crochet with a tight tension, you might want to size up your crochet hook or just try and be aware of how tight you're doing it when you are working this up. Okay, so go ahead and work all the way across the chain, and then I'll show you how to do the return pass when you're done. All right, so you should have worked your way down the chain. You should have the same amount of chains on your hook. So I'm doing the size small and I still have 44 loops on my hook. And now we are going to finish the foundation row by making the return pass. So to do that, you just want to chain 1. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops on our hook. And you'll repeat the yarning over and pulling through 2 loops on your hook all the way across the row. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Just repeat that all the way down and make sure you are still holding your yarn loosely. Okay, so we have the foundation row complete. You'll notice that we worked down and back. That counts as 1 row. So the forward pass and the return pass in Tunisian crochet is going to count as 1 row. You're also never going to turn your work. You're always going to have the correct side of your work facing you. For this pattern and for Tunisian crochet, you always work the loops on and off your hook with the work facing one direction towards you. And now I'm going to show you guys how to do the double crochet stitch, and that's the stitch we're going to be using through the rest of this pattern. So go ahead and chain 1, and you're going to skip this first vertical bar right here. We're never going to work into this one. We're always going to begin our work into this second one right here. So you always want to skip the first and work into the second. So yarn over and insert your hook from right to left through that top vertical bar. Show you guys again. So there's 2 bars right there. You're only going to insert it through the top one. So yarn over and pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Then yarn over and pull through 2 like a normal double crochet. And you're going to do that all the way across the row. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Do it again. Make sure you keep your tension loose. You want to not be pulling tight. We are trying to get a nice loose mesh look with this top. So you don't want to have a tight tension. Just always hold your yarn very loose. So continue that all the way across the row, and then I'll show you how to do the edge stitch when we get to the end. Okay, so you should have worked the double crochet across the row, and we are coming up to our last stitch here. So we are going to be making an edge stitch, and that's a little bit different from what we have been doing. The only difference is instead of sticking it through just this one vertical bar here in the front, we're going to stick it through both vertical bars. So there's a front and a back, and we want to stick it through both of those. So yarn over and insert your hook. You can see there's 2 loops on my hook now. I've stuck it through both of them. And just pull up a loop and then yarn over, pull through 2, and you have completed the edge stitch. And then you want to finish the return pass, and to do that you just want to chain 1 and then go ahead and yarn over and pull through 2 and work your way all the way down the row until you reach the end and have 1 loop left on your hook. Just make sure you're still holding your tension loosely and work all the way across. Okay, so that's 2 rows completed. We have the foundation row and then the row of the double crochet. You want to repeat that last row that we just did until you have the amount of rows needed for the size you're making. So just look at the pattern and make sure you do that. Repeat that last row for as many rows as needed, and then I will show you guys how to begin the decrease rows. Alright, so you should have completed the amount of rows needed for the size you're making. This is a size small, and I have crocheted 16 rows. It'll look like this. You can see it's really meshy and drapey and just really loose. And next we are going to do the decrease rows. So to do that, just chain 1, yarn over, insert your hook into that first stitch that you have been and the stitch that's right next to it. So you want to stick it through 2 stitches. Then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2 on your hook. So you can see we've done 1 decrease. And then you're going to crochet all the way across the row, just working 1 stitch at a time. And when you get down to the other end, you'll do a decrease and then finish with an edge stitch. So go ahead and work your way across. So once you've worked your way across, you can see that I stopped with 2 stitches left and the edge stitch. So there's 3 stitches left that I haven't worked yet. You'll want to make your decrease in these 2 stitches and then finish off with an edge stitch. So we made 2 decreases for that row, and then you'll just do your return pass back to the beginning like normal. So don't forget to do your chain 1 and then yarn over and pull through 2 all the way across to finish off the row. Okay, and the return pass is complete, and you will have 2 less stitches since we did 2 decreases. So the small went from 44 stitches to 42 stitches. You want to repeat that row that we just did for as many rows as the pattern calls for your size. So just be sure to check and see how many repeat rows you need to do, and just go ahead and continue doing that row that we just did. So chain 1, make your decrease, work your way across, do another decrease, and end with an edge stitch. So repeat that row, and then we will finish shaping the upper area and do the bind off row. Okay, so now you should have completed your decrease rows. I'm making the size small, and I decreased a total of 7 rows. So you can kind of see how it's slanting inwards on both sides now. That's going to shape the armhole. And next we want to make the shoulder areas. So just go ahead and chain 1. And then to do this, we're only going to be working halfway across and then doing the return pass. So I have 30 stitches after I've finished the decrease rows. So I have 30 stitches on this last row, and we're only going to be working through 15 of those stitches. So after you chain 1, do your decrease. And then work across. Okay, so now you should have completed all of your decrease rows. For the size small, I had 7 decrease rows. So just go back, check the pattern, and make sure you have all the rows that you need before we move on. You can see how it's starting to get thinner up towards the top here. So next we will be doing the neckline and shoulder straps. So I have 30 stitches across on my last row that I completed, and we're only going to be working halfway across before we make the return pass. So go ahead and chain 1, and then we still want to make our decrease. So go ahead and make your decrease, and then you're going to work your way for as many stitches as the pattern calls for your size. Mine is going to be 9 stitches, and then I'll be making another decrease and then finish with an edge stitch. So work your way across. Okay, so I've worked 9. Now I'm going to do one more decrease. And then to finish off the row, instead of just sticking under the top loop right here, I'm going to yarn over and insert underneath my work. So here's the last stitch. It's the top bar and the bottom bar. I'm just going to stick my hook right underneath like that. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and finish the stitch. I think that just gives it a little bit more, it's more secure when you do that, since this is going to be the inner neckline. It helps it so it doesn't tug at the stitch so much. So you should have made 2 decreases, and now you'll be working your return pass. So chain 1, and then yarn over and pull through 2 all the way across. So that's our first row of the shoulder strap. So we're not going to be doing any more decreases now. Now you're just going to be working across the row without decreasing. So chain 1 and working 1 stitch at a time, work your way across the row. Okay, so we worked 1 stitch through every single stitch across. We're going to do our return pass. Then I'm going to repeat that very last row that we just did. I'm going to repeat it one more time for the size small, and then we are going to do the bind off row. So go ahead and do as many rows as you need for your size, and it's super easy to customize the length of your straps. If you want to, you can just either continue adding more rows, or you can take rows away if you want them shorter, but it's already a pretty high cut tank top. You can also make your straps thinner if you want to by just continuing to decrease one on each side. So I'm going to finish up that last row. Okay, so now I'm ready to do the bind off row. Bind off row is super simple. Chain one, insert your hook like you have been under the front vertical bar, yarn over. You're going to pull through the loop, and then you're also going to pull through the loop on your hook. So if you're familiar with crochet, you're just basically doing a slip stitch. So you're going to do this through every single stitch across, yarn over, pull through the loop on the hook, just like that. Okay, so you can see that binding off gives you a nice clean finish. It'll be easier for us when we are sewing or seaming our work together at the end. So that is the bind off row. Go ahead and tie off, and then we're gonna repeat exactly what we just did on this other side of our shirt. Okay, so now we're gonna repeat that same thing on this side of our shirt. So before I started the shoulder straps, I had 30 stitches, and we worked through the first 15 of them. So now we are going to continue working through the second set of 15 over here. So this is the 15th stitch. So we are going to start our work right after that. And to do that, we're going to join our yarn with a slip stitch. So you're going to want to, instead of sticking the hook through the vertical bar right here, we're just going to stick it underneath the entire section right here. So that way it doesn't pull and tug at it just like on the other side. It'll stay better. So just chain one. And now you are going to work your decrease. And then work your way across the row. Okay, so make your decrease. And then finish with your edge stitch. So chain one and just complete your return pass. And you are going to do exactly what you did on the other side. So there's no more decreases now. You're just going to work the next row, working one stitch in every stitch across. And then you're going to repeat that one more time and then finish with your bind off row. So go ahead and complete your shoulder strap, and then I will show you how to seam your work together. You'll want to make sure that you've made 2 of these panels and it's the exact same thing. You just want to make 2 of these panels exactly the same way. Okay, so now you should have both panels completed, both the front and the back panel, and we're going to seam our work together. There's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can either use a crochet hook like I'm going to. I'm just using a J hook, and I'm going to use the tail of my work to slip stitch the 2 panels together. So the bind off rows that we did left nice stitches right here that we can work through and slip stitch together, or you can use a yarn needle and just either do the mattress stitch or whatever to sew your work together. I just prefer doing it this way. So you want to slip stitch. So first you want to place your panels together. You're going to have the correct sides facing. So lay one panel down, correct side up, and then lay the second panel on top of it, correct side down. And you'll want to slip stitch the top of your shoulders on both sides. And then once you have that finished, you just want to make sure that your work is lined up neatly, and you're going to slip stitch the side of your shirt together. So let me show you really quick how to do that. So I'm just going to use the tail of my work. Stick your hook through. I like to stick my hook through just the outer loop only. You can see the little V's going across here. That's from our bind off row. I like to stick my hook through the outer loop of it. Stick it through the outer loop on the other one as well. And then just take my tail, yarn over, and pull through both loops. And you just want to repeat that all the way across. Okay, so I've slip stitched the top of my arm straps together. You can see the nice seam that we have right here. And now you want to sew the side of your shirt together. I'm going to do it the same exact way that I did the shoulder straps. I'm just going to use my hook and slip stitch across. You can use a yarn needle though, whatever you prefer. So just line your work up, line your 2 panels together. You can see the decrease rows right here. You're going to want to join your yarn right after the decrease, right before you get to the decrease rows, so just where your panels are straight. And you're going to just slip stitch. You work your way down, or you can join at the bottom and work all the way up to the decreased rows. I'm going to join mine here and work down because I think I'm going to leave a few inches at the bottom of my shirt unsewn, so just give it a nice loose feel. So do that on both sides, and then be sure to weave in all of your ends, and I'll show you what it looks like after that.